Hollywood. Love that.
As y'all can see, I have the esteemed Bishop Mortimer here on the podcast. Welcome to Audacity Podcast.
Thank you.
If you we were shooting the shit before I pressed record, but if you don't know, he is what he calls himself. And wait, what's your pronouns?
Girl, I'm everything but late for dinner. That's what my pronouns is. Girl, I'm everything but late for dinner. I am an equal opportunity. Call me what you want, but late.
We are going to have a good time today. I have the accidental icon himself, Mr. Bishop Mortimer, and he is the host of his own podcast, Bishop Mortimer's Day Off. And also, you have a podcast with your cousins called the Gorgons Podcast, and that's
Yeah.
how I actually got to know you through Gorgons Podcast, the Gorgons Podcast. You're also an icon on TikTok and Instagram,
Girl, I
and I'm
try.
and YouTube. And I'm gonna tell you, first of all, am I forgetting anything with your intro?
No, girl, you got me sounding better than I see myself.
First of all, the baddest bitch on the block. Okay, nails done, an artiste.
Girl,
Okay, check out content, chef's kiss. Okay,
yeah. Girl, you acting like you ain't fabulous.
listen. If I stop BSing, I could probably be like into like my content creator mode and all that. But you got it.
Oh,
And how?
I live for
Uh-huh.
your book reviews.
Oh, honey, I I'm currently reading Parable of the Sower.
Girl, that book fucked me up.
I just got to chapter 18 today and I was like, I don't know if I can go on.
Girl, when I tell you, there's a quote in Parable, not us getting into book shit. When I
And
tell
that's
you,
fine.
when I read, there was a quote in that book where it said, um, it feels like, and I'm paraphrasing because you know I can't remember it.
Hmm.
She says, with this new rise in the hate that was in the nation in that book, she said, it feels like something old is being revived. And it was just like something, she was like, this feels like something new, or better yet, it's something old that once existed that's getting a new life. And she was talking about the hate. And I was just like, ooh, that is too eerily similar.
When I was reading today, she was talking because she came across Travis and Nativad and the baby.
Okay, yeah.
And she was talking about slavery. And I was like, oh, Lord. I said, this is not we reminiscing about slavery. I said,
Girl.
sheesh.
And then the thing is, you know what I said? Reading that book, I was like, low key, I could join Earthseed. If it was real,
Hmm.
I could see aspects of it being all right.
It's not too bad. I gotta keep going. I got a few more chapters left, but I'm like, you
Oh, we
only a
gonna talk about it
teenager.
later then. Look, and when
Okay.
you finish it, we gonna have a lot to talk about.
But I have some book haul recorded that I need to do, and I need to do a review on Harlem Rhapsody because ooh, Chile.
Girl, I love a good name. See, the thing is, when I saw that book, I said, I want to buy the book just on the name.
You haven't read Harlem Rhapsody?
No.
I'm
1 to 10, what you give it?
not good at rating books. Um, I like how it was written. I'll probably give it like a 9.5.
Okay.
But
Well,
when
I'm gonna get it.
when I don't know if you know about the affair, but honey, she was talking about that affair, I said, "Girl, you a dumb bitch. You need to get out of this."
Whew. Girl, girl, you gonna have that same reaction when you read Sula by Toni Morrison.
I see. Yeah, this is the year I'm getting into Tony. I'm getting into Jane. Well, I've read James Baldwin, but I recently just bought The Fire Next Time. So,
See, I read my first James Baldwin when I read Giovanni's Room. And girl,
mhm.
all that did is dig up. I said, oh, I thought I healed my internalized homophobia. It said, bitch, you lying. No, you didn't.
Oh,
It's there.
oh, I have Giovanni's Room. I have the I think it's like I think the edition you have where it's like the art painting.
Yes.
Yeah, I have that one. I've read the first. book I read by him was If Bill Street Could Talk.
See, I haven't seen the movie or read the book.
Oh, I like the movie too.
Regina King can do no wrong for me though.
Oh no, no, no. Never. Mm-mm.
Fabulous, just fat tens across the board, pretty
Have
much.
you read See, we don't even need an icebreaker, but I'm gonna give you one. But have you read The Nickel Boys?
It is on my TBR.
It's on mine as well. Okay. It's been
Girl, great
recommended.
minds think alike. Great minds think alike.
And then it won an award. Well, no, it was nominated. It didn't win.
Yeah, and the thing
The
is like this,
movie.
it got so much publicity and stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that. I said,
Mm-hmm.
they actually putting money behind our books?
Mm-hmm. Cause
Because you
they
know how the book industry like to be.
it Harlem Rhapsody touches on that a bit about white publishing companies signing
Okay.
black writers. It Besides the affair, it was a good book.
You know, Yellowface by R.F. Kwan does that too.
That has been on my list.
I got it because I judge books by the cover before I buy them. And I was like, oh, that book is cute. So I bought it and I read it last year during my Christmas series, Vlogmas.
Uh-huh.
And
Uh-huh.
it was really surprisingly good.
Uh, my office in my full time job, we just started reading, so that's why I'm reading Parable of the Sower. We gonna add that to the list.
Are you going to read Parable of the Talent next?
Yes, we are.
Girl, oh, that's going to fuck. Oh, I need you to finish these because we got to debate about that. We got to debate.
Okay.
We're going to have to do another episode doing book reviews.
Sounds good to me. Cause
Okay, sounds like a plan.
reading is my first love. Well, reading and music, they up there. But I've been getting back into reading as I gotten older. So
Me
yeah.
too. My mom used
Sounds
to
good.
make me my mom used to write me book reports and she'd be like, you could check out books from your school library, but I'm gonna take you to the public. You're gonna pick out a book and I'm gonna make you a book report so I know your listening comprehension works. So
Mm.
my mom's been forcing books down my throat all my life. I went from the Babysitters Club to girl
Yes.
Sweet Valley High, girl to Fear Street,
I didn't
Goosebumps,
read I didn't read them
girl
ones.
Judy Blume, all of it.
Mm.
Girl, my
I
mom had
didn't
me in them
read.
white people books. I was like, Ma, come on.
Junie B. Jones.
Girl, you know Junie B. Jones is the reason why I went viral the first time. That's the
Talk to
first
me about it.
girl. So back in 2020, I was like,
Mhm.
everybody going viral for dancing. I got two left feet. I can't dance. That's not my testimony.
All
So
right.
what I said was, I said, I can be funny. I said, they're either going to laugh with me or at me, but it's going to get the eyes. So I said, the stimulus checks was coming out, you know. So I was like, okay. I was like, hi, my name is Junie B. Jones. And the B stands for bitch, stop playing with me. And next thing I know, it just kept on going and kept on rhyming bees with different things. And that was around the time City Girls Act Up came out.
Uh-huh.
So I was like, hi, my name is Junie B. Jones, and the B stands for a big Birkin bag, hold 5, 6 figures. Speaking of which, where's my stimulus check? You know?
Wait,
So
you still ain't got the stimmy?
at that point, I was like, at this point, damn, keep the check, but not really. But so then I did that, and next thing I know, it got like I think 50,000 views, and that was a lot for me because I've been posting online since like 2013. Half of those videos are privated, of course, but yeah.
Okay.
And
Still.
girl, it went viral, and I said, "Oh shit!" I thought I was famous off of 50,000 views. Please sit
But
your ass down.
I okay, so I don't even know. We followed each other during the pandemic because that's when I restarted my podcast. Like I
Yeah.
rebranded it, well, renamed it and everything. And then I don't think I realized I was following you until one day I was watching a YouTube contemplation about something. And then I heard your voice and I was like, I follow him. And
I
I was
love it.
like, and I think it was because I had gotten acclimated with the Gorgons podcast. That's how I knew your voice. And I was like, wait, that's Bishop.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and the thing is, like, that's what because I remember when you followed us, I was like, oh. she's another black podcast. I was like, let me follow back because and I was like, oh, and she actually have good content because a lot of people will make podcasts and it's like, but it's like yours is like calming. I put it on and stuff like that, and I'll be cleaning and stuff like that,
Mhm.
and I'll be in the background like, girl, I know that's right, just talking, like you in the room with me.
I get that a lot. They be like, "You have a common voice," and I be like, "I don't want to listen back to my episodes."
Why are we so similar? Because do you hate when people will play back a video that you posted? Like, what are you doing? Like,
Not, don't do it around me.
don't do it around me.
Mm-mm.
Because I hate that. Like, my family will be like, you remember this video? I filmed it. Yeah. Thank you. Like, they be playing in my face because I'd be like, damn it, I'm awkward. I'm just naturally awkward, though. So
Mm,
I'm
I
like, but
don't,
don't play my
but I
shit.
don't get that vibe from you.
You know, years of therapy, it worked. And I needed it because I was tiki tiki boom boom. You know?
I'm glad. Okay, see,
And your questions, let me say, girl,
uh
I don't know how you came up with those questions. I said, these questions got me digging deep about my damn self. What happened? I said,
um, for real, I honestly don't know how to do it. I will pull questions out of everywhere, but I did podcasting because I really wanted to be in the radio industry.
okay,
That was what I went to school for communications. So I have that training, I guess, journalism, whatever. So that's coming up with questions. Sometimes I'd be like, I don't know, and then stuff would just start pouring in. Because then I started thinking about some stuff today.
okay, girl, I'm here for it all because as you see, I'm a certified yapper. I talk too
We love
much.
that. But no, but see, I told you some other stuff was gonna pop up. So we got 2 hours for this thing to record us. So yap
Perfect.
away. So you want to do your icebreakers?
Yes.
Okay.
So
If you had to identify as a book genre, what would it be and why?
it would definitely be magical realism because
Mhm.
magical realism is like when you have the mundane world and just random magical or supernatural events just enter the world and people look at it as like an everyday experience. And that was kind of my childhood growing up. I grew up with a psychic grandmother and a psychic mother. So it was kind of like, honey, the supernatural world is just as real as me and you talking. So, and that was from a young age. So when I would tell people, or when people would come into the house and they would be like, oh, this is odd, I had to realize their perspective is different because they live in a normal household. And, I use normal in quotations, but
Mhm.
it was I was like, it was just weird because spirits and supernatural experience, it was just, that's my normal. That's why when new age spirituality came up, I was kind of like, oh, I can just talk about the shit I've lived back in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah, but like you said, it's new age, and most of it would be considered like witchcraft or
Yes,
stuff like that.
because my grandma was a church girl, and the thing is, like, she told me one time, she said, honey, the difference between um the fortune teller down the street and the fortune teller in the church is the building. Honey, a prophet ain't nothing more than a church psychic. I said, don't get me started, Granny. Don't get me started.
And I had to ask my mom about that, right? Because I grew up in a church. She preaches from time to time,
Yes.
minister. Um, and I was asking her about something, and she was like, "Well, Grandma and Granny could interpret dreams," and I was like, "But wouldn't they consider that, witchcraft?" But she was like, "Well, there are like people like that in the Bible." That they would go to interpret their dreams. I
Yes.
was like, well, yeah. So
No,
guess it
and the thing is
depends on
that,
the person.
but you're right though, and it's like hell. You can go to Exodus, and there's a whole cleansing ritual where you have to sacrifice a bird and bathe in its blood.
Oh
So
no.
I always tell people, if you are black and you spiritual, you more than likely did some type of hoodoo. The thing is, the whole Bible. Oh, I got in trouble one time. I said, "Girl, the Bible is just a spell book." They're like, "Don't watch your mouth." I said, "Okay, I'll stop. I'll stop."
You say that, I say the Bible is like the ghettoest book I've ever read.
Oh,
Cause,
girl,
cause, cause King David killing Uriah, like having Uriah killed because he wanted his wife. I said, "Oh baby, that is some hood shit right there."
you turning somebody into a pillar of salt? Are you kidding me? Like, What is going on here?
The Bible is a good book. If you listen, if you want to read, it's some stuff up in there. Cause listen, my dog Job, he went through some things.
Oh, girl, the Bible is an ancient version of the Shade Room.
It is.
Because, honey, you got different characters that play different roles. Some destroy kingdoms, some build kingdoms up. Because I said, honey, Moses, he ain't nothing but a hoodoo man. I said, Moses was doing magic. I said, turning a staff into a serpent. And ain't snakes supposed to be looked at as evil?
Mm-hmm.
I said, honey. I said,
Yeah.
if it sound like a conjurer, it talk like a conjurer, and he's splitting water open and water's cleansing. I said, and then a plague to kill firstborn children? What? I
Yeah.
love the book. Don't get it wrong. I love the book for what it's worth. It got me through some times. However,
Yes.
I'll tell you this much. That Old Testament, that's a vengeful God.
He was. He really was.
Kind of scary. I'm like, okay.
But listen, the a good ghetto book. That's what I call it. Ooh, we
I
might
love
get
that.
some
I'm going to
flack for
steal
this.
that. A good ghetto book.
Read the Bible, okay? Because when that
Read your
woman,
Bible, people. Read your Bible for your own interpretation. You're going to get a message.
because what was it? I was listening to something like 365 Day Plan on the Bible app, and it was about the woman. She was the queen, and she wanted to sleep with the man, and she was like, "Well, I'm gonna tell my husband that you did something." I said that must have been a white woman.
It has to be because here's the thing. There's so much like, girl, I said, I had there's a lot of preachers in my family. They'll be like, you know what? You go through all this stuff. They always bring up Joe. You go through all this stuff, and your heaven will be in the afterlife and stuff like that. I said, honey, I will see the blessings of God in the land of the living. I am not going to wait to die to have a good thing. I shall lack
Right,
no good thing.
right. Because why do black people we done suffered enough? Why we gotta keep suffering till we die?
Oh, girl, I unsubscribed when they was like long suffering and the fruit of the spirit. I said I may be gay, but that's not the fruit I'm going with, honey. I'm a different type of fruit. Honey, that fruit is rotten. Long suffering. Girl, life is long suffering. I'm good.
Life is long suffering, but can I have some goodness while on earth?
Because don't we deserve it? Good, do good onto others, and it should come. Let's bring it on to us. Like, you ain't selfish for wanting good things.
I have come to the conclusion, and who, honey, we we gonna get some flack. I have come to the conclusion that black people are taught to see God differently than white people are taught to. Like we are taught to just be be meek in a sense where they are more
Yes.
so co-conspirators with God, and where black
Yes.
people it's like you pray and then you wait for God to give you a response instead
True.
of co-creating because God is all power and he's in full control. But I don't think white people see it like that. I think they see God as their equal and they can co-create with him.
No, I agree. And I'll even go a little step further is I feel like, I think if black people take fear out of their religious or their spiritual
Mm.
relationships, their prayers would go a lot higher than some of their ceilings. Because I'm like, honey, your prayer sounds like begging. And that's a problem. Because here's the thing, ain't nobody gonna give nobody something that's begging. Like, okay, you don't even believe you deserve it or want the
Well,
miracle or the breakthrough.
not even begging, they're not unsure, which is why. And I think I'm one of your videos that I realized it was you is talking about manifestation. And with
Yes.
manifestation, you cannot be unsure. You have to say it like it's already yours. It's already done.
Yes. And you also have to be prepared to, when you pray or manifest or whatever your niche is, what you're asking for is not going to come in the form in which you envision it.
Mm.
Because some people will be like, oh, I want money. And then, say, for a lack of a better example, they'll get a job opportunity with DoorDash. Oh, I don't want a DoorDash today. Well, how do you know that that job, that meal from Burger King that you were going to deliver, you weren't going to deliver it to a house that was going to give you a $250 tip? Oh, there's your light bill money. But no, I don't want to do it. No, because you want the prayer to come pretty the way you say it, not the way it needs to come. Because that's why miracles always come in disguise. Because if we knew, if we could pray and get something out of God, we can manipulate his hand.
Mm.
Girl, don't get me preaching. Girl, don't get me preaching.
No, but this is good. There is a lot of, like you said, there is a lot of fear within religion in the black community because that's what we were taught.
And a lot of black people are praying to the white God and they don't realize, and they think, and I know God is beyond gender, he's beyond color. I know that. However, a lot of black people have never broken away from the God of bondage.
Oh Lord, come on, talk
And
to
I
me
think
about
that's
that.
a problem. And I feel like as long, because my mom grew up in a generation where, honey, you don't question God. And I'd be like, I said, well, why was Christians invented then? So, and they never gave me a good enough answer. That's why I gotta tell people, what is your religion? If your religion is based on your parents, have you decided why do you believe in God? I can't just believe in God because my mom, my grandmother, and stuff like that. That I need to meet them for myself or have an experience.
Mhm.
And once stuff like that happened, and I've had plenty of experiences, that's why I tell people, they be like, people are always shocked that I know the Bible as well as I do. Because let me tell you something, motherfuckers think I'm like a witch doctor. I'm like, you pick up one or two roots, and now you a witch doctor. I said, honey, roots come from the earth. Who made the earth? So I
Exactly.
always got to go back to him because he created it. Now, everybody
Exactly.
won't agree with that, but that's why I had to deconstruct living for other people's expectations.
Amen. Hallelujah.
Because, girl, they sins ain't going to get me into heaven any faster.
Not at all.
Girl, but yeah, and long story short, magical realism is the book genre I would relate to. What would you relate to?
That is so interesting. Ooh, I don't know because I think I like fiction,
Okay.
but I think it will probably be more so like memoir, autobiography because I love to like read and hear people's stories, which is why I started
Yes.
this is why I have a podcast, but that would probably be like my top one. I just love to see what people come like how they started, what they went through, and how they came out on the other side, or if
Oh, I
they
like
didn't.
that.
But like what happened.
Yes. Because
So,
that's the most interesting part of life. It's that journey in between of, from
mm,
the beginning to whatever anybody's end is or their next chapter is. I find that very fascinating because that's what builds the character of life, of how you get through.
amen. And a memoir I will always recommend is Cicely Tyson's because she wrote hers when she was much older. She got to experience life, and it was good. There are
My
a few
mom
more,
read
but
it.
that one is good.
I'm going to get it. My mom read it. My mom was like, oh, she a survivor. And I said, well, don't tell me yet.
She I didn't realize that Tyler Perry, like, I mean, I know we heard it, but she really was not getting paid until she worked with Tyler Perry, even though he's kind of like controversial, but whatever.
But the sad thing about it is a life with that type of category of a
Mhm.
pedigree of career, and Tyler Perry in her final chapters is the first ones. That's why I tell people, black people, I don't care if you got 5 followers. Don't let these brands, don't let the Hollywood, the powers that be, undercut you. Everybody, if you don't have the followers, guess what? Charge for your time because you won't get it back.
I know that's right. No,
Girl, but no, I
I
feel
want
you on
black
that
people to
one.
create. I do. I want black people to create more. But also I know that we're tired. Like I said, I
Exhausted.
want jobs.
Girl, exhausted. Can I tell you something? I
Mhm.
have never been as tired as I was. I mean, you've seen the way I was crashing out over the election.
We always crashing out, okay? But you know what? Them white people and them Latino people,
Exactly.
y'all pick this mess. And that's why black people sitting out like mm-mm.
Because the one thing that black people know how to do is we know how to survive through the most unspeakable. I mean, look at history. So, with that being said, it's a lot of these privileged white people who thought they were untouchable, but now they're getting that ass touched.
Oh, the farmers is hurt.
And as they should be, as they should be.
I mean, he told y'all what he was gonna do.
Exactly. The thing is, he's a liar, but he doesn't lie about his actions. He doesn't lie about the fuck shit he do. Like my
I
mom
didn't.
always said, look, when somebody look at if it looks like a snake, it's more than likely a snake.
It
Girl,
is.
but I think I was just more disappointed because I'm not saying I was under the great facade of change, but because like you never want to lose hope, I would say. But I wanted to believe it was at least getting a little bit better. But it's like, damn,
They did not want to see a black woman in that
not
office.
a qualified black woman at that, not a woman of power at all,
Mm-mm. A woman with the credentials.
and worked in every branch.
Every single one.
No felonies,
Not a one.
no rape cases.
Mm-mm. Not grabbing nobody by the pussy.
Nobody, hands clean. Unless she did it with her own, but that's her business. But you do
They
your joy on your time.
they did not want to see that silk press in the White House.
And and they didn't want to see laughter.
No, no.
Because one thing Kamala gonna do, she gonna laugh.
And is. No, she
And
gonna
that she
cackle.
should. And she should. And it's like, people need to realize I was looking like it took me a while to catch up, but I was like, I'm not gonna lie. This is looking very. People better remember, Nazi Germany, the concentration camps weren't in Germany. I think they were in Poland. You see, people are being transferred from America to a different place. I was like, a lot of people think, the concentration camps were in Germany. I'm like, no,
El
Germany was like the mecca
Salvador.
of the fuck shit.
El Salvador. That's what he's trying to send them people. You see, he ain't bringing that man back, even though the Supreme Court is like, you need to bring him home.
And the scary part about that, no checks and balances. And I said, that's the problem. When you have a person with unchecked privilege, shit is gonna get fucked up. And like, when people start getting abducted off of the streets, now that's what white people getting arrested. Now that's why they're, oh my God. It's like, you do realize that's been happening to a lot of us for
De-
generations.
decades.
Black people have been getting killed by the cops for generations, and the only difference is now we have social media. Think of all the black people before iPhones or phones with cameras, period. It was
Right.
hearsay.
That, or they put it in black and white and made us think that it was like the early 1500s. Sir, please.
Just full of shit. But then again,
All of it.
that's what the nation was born on.
Shit.
And I feel bad for the natives. Oh,
They just fucking up their land. But you know what? And then you got China blowing up their spot. China was like, yeah, y'all was ghetto, and then we done made the Gucci belt that was wrapped around y'all. So what's up?
okay. Y'all talking all this shit about Timu
Cash
and stuff
it.
like, but guess what? Same factories, different distribution. They say return to sender.
Give me my money is when they said stop playing with my top. Yeah.
Girl, when they showed, I said, Lord, I said, the way China's going, I don't see us having TikTok in the near future because TikTok gives too much power to the disempowered.
And I haven't even made it on TikTok. I done downloaded the app. I'm like, let me. Mom was like, are you on TikTok yet? I was like, no, I'm not on TikTok. But I'm about to get on it.
Tell me
Real
about that.
real
Because
quick.
the last time I was not on TikTok, I joined TikTok in 2019 of August.
Mm-hmm.
What is life without TikTok? Because I be having friends and family, and I be asking them. I'm like, because it's once you get into it, it's like so all encompassing.
I only have Instagram. I logged out of Facebook, and I'm just like,
Me too.
I'm fine with not having TikTok. I know once I get on there, it's going to be a problem.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna have to do like a whole 6 month Ramadan. Like, get me out of here.
Period. Because, girl, when I tell you, the closest thing I do is when I wake up in the morning, I do 30 minutes without my phone. That's not the first thing I should be grabbing when I wake up.
Mm-hmm.
But let me tell you, it's a work in progress because I've been grabbing the phone. That phone been like, hello. I'm like, goodbye.
But since Ramadan, like I'll get on Instagram, but not like that. Like I'll be like, oh, I'm on Instagram, but I don't be on that like that.
I try to actively post more on Instagram because I feel like Instagram have this feeling where it's not like a yucky feeling where it's
Uh-huh.
like you can't post unless it's aesthetic. And I'm sick of fucking aesthetics. I just want to post because I'm having fun, or even if a picture that my followers may think is bad, I like it enough. And that's why the profile I have now is my second profile on Instagram from my original one I had back in like 2009 for when it first came out because I felt like it had too many hometown people I knew, and I felt like the person I was and the person they knew they couldn't grow cohesively
Mm.
because they only saw me one way. So I made because here's the breaking news. It's not breaking because I say it all the time, girl. Because you know my real name is Brandon Wynn. And so if people always be like, bitch, you're a Brandon, I say, yeah, Bishop Mortimer is a stage name because I know when I become an author, I don't want no family jumping on my bandwagon. No. But
I know who my cousin is.
exactly. So my real last name is Wynn. And they be like, oh,
Mhm.
that's such a cool, positive last name. I said it is. However, Bishop Mortimer, which side note, I got the name because Tupac's character, and I'm like, Tupac, Brandon, you and Tupac are in two different worlds. But his character in Juice is named Bishop, and I loved his character. And then I love 1940 movies, so Arsenic and Old Lace. The main character Cary Grant played, because he has like two murderous aunts, is named Mortimer. I was like, oh, Bishop Mortimer, there we go. Made a new page, and I said, this is going to give me the freedom. I'm not going to follow nobody I know, and I'm just going to build it from the ground up. And I'm going to post what I want, and then I'll be free. And next thing I know, I blew up on TikTok, and then people started following me on that. And now my family's been finding my Bishop Mortimer TikTok. So I mean, my Instagram. So I'm like, damn. But I'm not making it private because I like attention. What is wrong with me, girl?
But I think that's organic. I mean, we also have to think about when Instagram started. We used to post like that. Like I was in college when I got on like Instagram, and I was
Yeah,
posting whatever I wanted. I mean, I had to go back
food
and
and all
like
that stuff. I love a good
archive
food
it.
shop.
Yes, basic stuff, just living life. Okay,
And
what crazy?
do you remember on Instagram when the hashtags actually worked?
Yes,
And then
I
I remember,
ooh,
girl,
I
Instagram used to be the shit. Remember when you would get over 11 likes and then it would turn into a number?
yes. Or when you could see like who you was following, like something else, and started following somebody else. You used to be
The
nosy,
activity.
like, mm-hmm.
Oh, I was in everybody business because I was like, oh, I thought you didn't fuck with such and such. Oh, I was
No,
the
I
messy
did.
friend.
Yes, no. I used to love that feature. Then I was like, where is it? I need to be nosy.
And then it's like the explore page. I'm like, how the fuck do you get on the explore page? I just don't know. Like, to be honest, so now I just post. If I like my picture, I'll give it a little airbrush and stuff like that, and I'm uploading it and I'm leaving.
But also, Instagram used to have like the best filters back in the day.
Girl, you ain't never lied.
The
That,
best.
whew, girl, I used to love me a little grainy filter. I love a grain. Now I gotta go on 3 different apps to find the perfect grain.
Okay.
And that's
No,
if
I
they didn't,
missed it.
and that's if the apps ain't charging you,
Damn.
girl. Because you know Apple's
Mm-mm.
always trying to get some money out of somebody,
Apple will get you for your last $2.
and then won't let you re-download no new apps until you pay the bill. I said this is the nigga shit. That's nigga shit. You ain't get nothing new until you pay this bill. That's nigga. That's We Energies. That's the energy company.
Mm-hmm.
That's the light bill.
Listen, Apple go get. Apple say I'm leaving here with something.
Period. And they do.
They leave with everything.
My apps
Everything.
be
Any
6 months without an update because I'm not paying it. But then I did. I was like, oh, I can't stand on shit. Girl, you know when you be so disappointed, you like, oh, I ain't paying them niggas, and then they like snatch. Okay,
and then you be like, I'm gonna give out. Can't do it.
exactly. Be
All
having
right.
me looking like something off of New Jack City. I'm like, I'm salty as fuck. I'm like, Apple is Nino Brown. I said, I can't. Like, it's a mess.
I love it.
Like, see, girl, we got good chemistry. See, this is like,
I love it. I love it. Okay, I
girl,
have
I
been
knew it.
waiting. I have been waiting to record, and I was so nervous to ask you. I was like, I don't know if he's gonna want to do it.
No, please ask me anything. The way you support, you deserve your flowers. Let me give you your flowers real quick. The
Oh
way
Lord.
you unapologetically support, you bring happiness. You bring good wisdom and insight. I appreciate that because a lot of people have a lot to say on social media, but really ain't saying shit. So, with that being said, you are just you're light wherever you go, and you can sense that through the way you carry yourself. You know, your education, what you post, because girl, your stories. If y'all ain't tapped into her stories, the stories is where it's at. Her feed, she upload when she want to, and I can't blame her because I'm not the best. I'm not the queen of consistency. However, them stories, oh, she gonna update you on some shit.
I am.
Girl, you kept me in the loop or something. You don't know how much I be looking at your stories, and you be keeping me in the loop.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
No,
It's
girl,
so
your
fun.
stories are everything. Like, we need to. The stories are the tea.
The stories are the tea because I'd be like, it's some ghetto shit going on, and then I try to throw in
Fact.
some inspiration to enlighten the mood.
Yeah, you give us a good balance. You give us a good
Hmm.
balance of pop culture, philosophical, deep thinking, spiritual, because we need the spiritual. Ground
Amen.
yourself.
Hmm.
You're good. You're a healthy balance. I love it.
Thank you. And it's so funny you said unapologetic because that was the name of my first podcast.
For
Unapologetically
real?
candid. Hmm.
I love that.
Thank
I
you.
love that. Because you still have that energy.
Thank you.
Okay, the energy don't go. The title just changed. What you say?
That's tea.
But girl, yeah. But your question, I love these questions.
All right, well, let's get to your next one.
Okay.
What's the most surprising thing you learned about yourself through content
Oh,
creation?
that I'm likable.
Really?
There, yeah, and that my people like my voice. I had a speech impediment, and I was in speech therapy for 10 years. You could still hear my stutter every now and again, but I couldn't pronounce words like girl. I couldn't do anything. I had a bad speech impediment. Couldn't girl. I sounded like I was talking with marbles. I said, girl. I said, I. You know what I used to sound like? Have you ever seen Courage the Cowardly Dog? Like, and niggas just be mumbling. Like, what are you saying? Slow down and breathe, girl. Yeah, I was a black Courage the Cowardly Dog.
Stop it.
Girl, yeah, motherfuckers used to eat me up, justifiably so. But
Oh
because if the
my
shoe was
God.
on the other foot, I would do the same. But girl, yeah, just me being likable because I've always had big friend groups and stuff like that. But I've always felt like I was the friend that was like, oh, reliable. They'll be there if I need something, but I'm not the first friend people go to. But
Hmm.
as I got older and as I put more of my authentic self out, because at the end of the day, it's life. Ain't none of us getting out alive anyway. What do I have to lose? When people started liking me
Hmm.
with nothing to gain, I was like, maybe you are all right. And that helped my self love and then just my voice because if you met me 15 years ago, me talking in front of groups of people, especially stuff where I've talked in front of millions of people with videos,
Hmm.
oh, I was like a mute. You would never hear my voice because I had so much self hate on my voice and I had so much control because how you speak and how you speak on your life is what
Hmm.
your life becomes. You are what you
Right.
speak. There's power in the
Right.
tongue. And when you got a tongue that got a speech impediment, I said, God, I know Moses had a speech impediment, but I ain't parting no seas. Hello. I said, God got me sounding like Buster Rhymes and I'm trying to say my ABCs. I said, I ain't never known the righteous to be forsaken, but the tongue is. I said, what's going on, God?
I
God said,
can't.
sit down, my child. And I showed did. You don't got to tell me, boo.
Well, you are likable. I love it.
Thank you.
And I'm glad that your speech impediment. You say it's still there, but you sound good to me.
Thank you. Because here's the thing. I had one of those old school, because I started
Hmm.
school in 99. I had one of those old school speech therapist teachers that was one of those like old white women who have you ever read the book What Happened to Miss Nelson? What was the witchy teacher um her name? Let me look it up real
Um,
quick
I'm about to say, let me look it up.
because when I tell you that's what my speech therapist looked like, and that hoe would eat me up every time.
Ooh. But see, that's progress that you and I'm guessing your mom wanted for you.
Yeah, so okay. The Miss Nelson of Miss uh, I had a speech therapist that looked like this. Her name, I guess this character is named Viola Swamp. Look at that.
I
Girl,
I could
yeah.
see her in my head, but I could not remember her name.
Can you see it on my screen?
Hmm.
Yeah, so and her
I
name
see
was
it.
Viola Swamp. Oh, witch looking. But girl, let me tell you something. She binded up that speech impediment real quick.
Amen. Okay.
Girl, and she was so old school. You know, it was an old school teacher from the South because look, if I got it wrong, low key, she would tap my hands. Now, if I would have told my mom would have ripped her 2 days from Tuesday. But you can't tell your mamas everything because a mom will go up to a school and act a fool.
Yes.
Next
And
thing you
it's
know,
even
you
more
got a chip
dangerous
case.
now. It's even more worse with these new parents. Okay.
What do you feel about gentle parenting? Because I have a cousin who does gentle parenting and I like it, but I think you need a little bit of old school and a little bit of new school. You know,
Oh, child, I don't have no kids, but
girl, me neither.
I just feel like the way that I was raised. Listen, you would think my mama was my bully. Okay.
Right.
So I agree, like there needs to be balance when it comes to raising your child. Like let them know what they did wrong, but also, not have such like a stern, hard hand. Like give them grace. Like they are kids. Like they're trying to
True.
figure this out just like you are. But it's also it's different because I feel like a lot of parents hold a lot of anger and or resentment and then they take it out on their kid. But I'm not a parent. So
Did you ever hear that quote where, and this isn't coming from me, this is something I seen on TikTok, but this therapist said, it was a black woman therapist, she said a lot of black girls' first bullies are their mothers.
mhm.
And I was like, ugh.
Agree. Agree.
And I was like, that's so sad. And then you know what I started doing? I started
Mhm.
like thinking from my own perspective on my cousin's relationship because my family is predominantly female.
Mhm.
And like there's like out of each generation, like there's only like four of us boys. And look,
Mhm.
out of the four boys, one of them turned out gay, so I'm one of the girls too. But anyway, so it's like
No, and it's cool.
I realized a lot of my cousins they won't say that about their parents because such fear and you don't want to be looked at as a disrespectful child, even though you're just speaking your truth. And everybody wants you to keep it real until you're too real. But I said, oh, a lot of y'all mothers was y'all first haters, and they disguised it as tough love.
Mhm.
I see the tough, but where's the love?
That you didn't get the love. No,
Girl, I'm
it's
enjoying
true.
myself so fucking much. I just want to look at you. You're like, boy, you keep saying this. I get it. You like it. But it's like,
No, I'm glad because I just never know, and I'm getting back into podcasting. So
yeah, I
yes, I'm
love this. Like,
glad.
oh,
That is a topic that I've wanted to talk on, but I didn't want, to talk on it and then if somebody from my family listens to it, be like, "Oh, you being real disrespectful." But a lot of parents are, a lot of mothers are your first bullies, and it's funny you say that because there's just this one core memory that I have about my mom, and it will never leave me, and it will always make me sad if I think about it too much, and it randomly pops into my mind.
and you know what? It's crazy you say that because when I started speaking to stuff like that with my mom, and I said, Mom, well, tell me about your relationship. Because my mom, like I said, she had 10 siblings. Long story short, out of the 10 siblings, it was the three youngest who helped take care of my grandmother. But it fell on my mom, who was my grandmother's youngest, towards the end. And after she passed away, it's been like 10 years now. I was like, Mom, she ever said something that hurt you? And she said something about my mom's weight, which probably contributed to like a part of her eating disorder that she'll never admit that she has. But I know it stuck with her, and she'll mention it every now and again. And I'm like, oh, I said to her, you haven't forgiven somebody is if you could mention a situation and you instantly feel that same emotion you did when they first betrayed you. That's how you know. Because if you can mention something from the past of somebody that hurt you and you don't feel that same anger, you've healed from it. But if you think of somebody that you hate and that same anger that you felt in the moment they dropped that bomb on you that was unjustifiable, you haven't healed and you haven't forgiven.
Mm, I don't think I'm there yet. Cause I thought about it like
Girl,
maybe
look
a
at,
few
I'm
months
not even
ago.
on the block. Look, I'm not even on the block yet.
But no, that there are a lot of, and I have nieces and nephews and sisters, and I see it. I see it, and I'm just like, whew. And I think that's why I'm
It's a
very
lot.
like how I am with my oldest niece, like my nieces. Really, I'm how I like. I'm just like I'm gonna keep it real with y'all, but I'm giving it to you out of love, and I'm just be like, I be calm. You have to be
Yes.
calm because, oh Lord, yeah, we have to talk about this off the page.
Got you. Clock
But
it. Clock it. Got
but
you.
yeah, a lot. There's a lot of my like women friends that will say, yeah, my mom was my first bully,
Yes.
and it's sad. It's just like, what did they do? They'll never
And
know.
that and that's such a deep deconstruction process
Hmm.
because also you, people will have to reflect on with that mindset um what type of woman have you become throughout that type of harassment or that type of bullying or that type because bullying changes you whether it's on online in person from family from friends or from strangers. Bullying always changes people either become the bully and they don't realize it because it's a subliminal, they're little digs that pile up into big stuff, or people just, a lot of times a woman will be called a bitch and they don't realize nobody's born a bitch. Nobody, men aren't born assholes. You become those through life.
Hmm. That's true.
So girl, we clocking the T, girl.
But it's so see, I told you some stuff was gonna slip through. We was gonna talk about other stuff, but it's really sad, and I feel like my fear is probably why I don't want to have kids. Besides, they expensive and bad as shit,
Oh,
but
that
I don't want to become the mom that I had.
that's real. I've said the
Like
same thing about. I said
like
I don't want to be. I'm the same.
mhm. Yeah, my I haven't fully healed my parental trauma, but I don't want if the situation got to be right. Like I need to have every coin in the book. I got to be married the whole night. Like it has to be all across the board, tens across the board for me to have a kid. Because I don't want to be a
See, my
single parent.
dream, ever since I was little, I've always wanted to be a parent. Like the way I
Mhm.
decorate for the holidays and stuff like that. I want to have my kids reading books, make them book reports because I need that. I need that reading comprehension to be up there. Y'all
Right.
can't just. A lot of kids
Because
will read a book to get it done.
no, because these kids don't know how to read. They can't read between the lines.
Girl, the
They kind of
literacy is insane.
trash.
But I've always wanted to be a parent. Like I want three sons. I always used to make this joke. I said I want to have three sons so they can teach me how to be a man. But I was like, girl, I be just father.
I used to want kids when I was like real young and like um I was like I want four kids, two boys, two girls, because four is my favorite number. And now I'm
Yes.
just like I just want to be the rich auntie.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
I
See, I
I'd rather be the rich auntie.
I'm definitely like I'm like the gay cousin and like in my family. Let me keep it real. Not only am I like the gay one because I'm the only one that's gay in my family, which lucky me, but also I'm looked at now. It's like, oh, if you got something like a spiritual problem, look, he gonna have something for you. Like I'm like the you know how every family have like that mystical magical one who they
Hmm.
ain't gonna call it magic because you know how us black people are, but if you need something, a home remedy that's low key a potion, because they be like, oh, it's a home remedy, honey, that's a potion. Pills and potions, that is all it is.
Woo, child! Please get out
But
of this witchcraft chokehold.
exactly, it be having them like if they were the Puritans, half of us would have been burnt at the stake for an opinion. I'm telling you.
Yeah,
Black
no.
people will be the first ones looking. They'll be like, honey, ooh, that sounds like witchcraft. And they'll drink some wine that represents blood and a cracker that represents the body. That sounds like cannibalism and a blood ritual. You're drinking the blood. Since when you turn into a vampire? Your work, God will
What are people mad?
look at God will take your worship and you doing good onto others. You don't got to drink his blood.
It's
That's
a
some human
it's
shit.
it's a lot of religion things that I'm just like, mhm.
I
Just like
always say, well,
tithing. I can't get with tithing.
girl, girl,
Cause
don't start.
cause I be like, they out here driving these expensive cars. Remember Creflo Dollar got that private jet? And we was like, it's people starving out here.
Or
Or
when
like,
Joe Osteen faculty found a whole bunch of money in a toilet receptacle,
oh, see, I thought you was gonna talk about when they was having that flood in Houston and they didn't open that church.
that part too. So we got two incidences.
Y'all got them mega churches and y'all ain't open them up for the people. Mm.
Exactly. That's why I tell people spiritually, I like this. Do I believe in tithing to the church? Absolutely not. I said, why don't you tithe to humanity? So when you see somebody that's hungry, if you don't, because a lot of black people be like, oh, I don't give to the homeless because they'll buy drugs, then buy the food for them.
You know what? I used to be like that. I used to be like, I'm not giving homeless people nothing. But then I was like, why not? Give them the money, let them do what they want.
Yeah, because I'm giving it with true intent. So
All
you
right.
do what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
But I had a couple cousins, I was like, they're like, oh, I don't want them to spend it on drugs. First of all, if you're giving it from a pure heart, it's not your job to control what they do with it. Second of all,
Exactly.
if you're so worried about that, get them a meal that they don't have to heat up that's pre-made, go to McDonald's or something, and then bring it back to them if you're worried about their nourishment so much. I said, honey, instead of tithing to the church, tithe to
Hmm.
the world to make it a better place.
Absolutely.
But they ain't ready
Absolutely.
for that because they want to tie to the church and then expect a blessing. Honey, you can't buy blessings. You cannot buy blessings.
No, you can't buy your way into heaven either. So
Oh girl. Now that's a quote. Okay, you can't buy. Oh girl. Girl, I know that's right. No, that hit me, girl. I said, okay. You right.
you can't. You can't. Just
No,
like
you
what
right.
Denzel say, you can't pull the U-Haul behind the hearse.
Oh
It's
yeah, you never see a U-Haul after a casket. Yes.
no, like you can't take nothing, baby. Y'all can have these debts though.
Oh yeah, honey. Chalk that shit up to the game, girl. The financial aid department that send it to me. I said, girl, y'all gonna have to fuck around and get it back in blood, but with this administration, they might. So let me not. Girl, let me not even
But
risk it. There's power
they
in the tongue.
people be like, you pay your student loans. What?
No.
Why would I do that? Y'all should have been better about giving y'all money out to the
What I
base.
look like paying them back when America's over a couple trillion in debt, but you trying to give me a credit score?
You said a couple trillion. A couple trillion?
A couple, but you giving me a credit score.
First of all, I learned last year they only started credit scores because of black people. They didn't want black people having stuff.
Oh
And
Lord.
and people will be like, everything is not about race. It is. It is.
It
It's with
you
every
cannot live
fabric
in a
of
racial.
America is based off of race.
I always say you cannot live in a racialized state and say it's not about race. Everything about is race from the way where people live, that gerrymandering, all that stuff, it all falls back to race in a superiority complex. And people be acting like it's so like, oh my God, you guys got to make it about slavery. It lasted 300 years, 300 to 400 years. Like they'll be so quick to say stuff like that, and it just always floors me. It floors me.
This says the modern FICO credit credit score was introduced in 1989.
See,
That
so
was a
that
few
would
months before I
explain.
was born.
Look at that would explain why my auntie was able to get away with cashing bad checks back in the day. Because I'm like, where's the credit score? Where's the banks not allowing you to reopen up an account?
1980 FICO 1989. They didn't want black people having good stuff. They never want black people to have stuff.
It's the same way with degrees. As soon as black people started getting masters and bachelors, now they don't mean shit. And I'm still going after my shit.
Absolutely, as you should.
Because let me tell you something. I dropped out of college a year before I got my bachelor's degree in creative writing. And
Hmm.
because I was like, I'm not going to go in debt for a high paid language arts class. This is language arts. Creative writer, a bachelor's degree in creative writing. The fuck I'm gonna do? I'm gonna be an author regardless, whether I got the
Right.
degree or not. I'm gonna write some
Right.
shit down
Right.
when my procrastination ain't killing me. Girl, I've been writing this book since 2016. Like, damn. Like, what is you writing? The
At
greatest book
least you
ever told?
started. At least you started, cause honey, I done bought creative writing books and ain't even wrote a lick of nothing.
Well, here, let me ask you a question. What
Mhm.
kind of book are you gonna write one day? Like, what genre would you do?
It's probably gonna be a fiction.
Okay,
But
me too.
but see, I'm nervous because I don't want to be like Harper Stewart and be writing about my friend's business. I don't want to be telling all the tea. They be like, this character about me. No, bitch.
Exactly. I plead the fifth.
It's loosely based.
I'm gonna use that loosely. Read
Name,
between the lines.
names have been changed.
Exactly. Everything else is set in stone.
But yes, that's my goal. Like, I don't know. I was thinking about what I wanted like as a kid, what I wanted to do. Honey, I had so many plans. So
Girl,
many.
give me two. What are your two dream jobs that you wanted to do as a kid?
I thought I was gonna be a singer. I was like, I want to be like I want to be like Destiny's Child, but then like Beyonce. I love music, Mariah Carey, all of them. I thought I was gonna write a cookbook, child, or a book in general, and then of course radio became a little later.
So what you're telling me is, look at you got vocals.
I don't think I could sing though. I just like to sing.
See, but that's the thing. And see, what happened is all you did is you reconfigured your dream because you're still using your voice. It's just not in the singing capacity. You're doing it through audio.
And that's
So
fine.
your dream just evolved.
Amen. Hey, come on now.
Okay, and
See,
look at, and you still look at, you're gonna write a book eventually. So the thing is like this, and a cookbook could be down the line. All you have to do is make sure you be writing down your recipes.
oh, I ain't got none. We, I'm stealing it from people. I ain't. I'm gonna be like Christopher Columbus. No, I think now I don't know. I want to do a lot of stuff, and I feel like it's really geared towards creative, artistic stuff. Cause I'm like, I want to produce, I want to direct, I want to write, like screenwriting.
Ooh, I can see Audacity Productions, girl.
Ooh, I call my YouTube channel Audacity TV.
I
So
love
we'll
that. Oh,
see.
and when are you doing your next YouTube vlog?
See, I don't know about vlogging. I'd be nervous about vlogging. This episode is not about me.
I tried to do a Uno reverse.
I vlogged a little bit yesterday, but I have an idea, but I haven't really fleshed it out. But we need to get back on topic because
Okay,
this
you right,
this
Queen. Let's
is
get
your
on.
episode, not mine. Okay,
Girl, we just kikiing and shit.
yes, we should. Okay, so I don't know if you want to talk about it, but we
Oh, I'm
did
open for everything.
Ramadan. Okay, we did Ramadan back in March,
Yes.
and I was kind of like on the fence about it, but I saw your story where you talked about how you and your old coworker, well, she was
Yes.
Muslim, but you weren't, but you did Ramadan in your own way. So I want to know, how was your Ramadan?
Okay. If I had to rate my Ramadan on a scale from 1 to 10,
Hmm.
this year was a 6.7 because I lacked discipline and consistency. I never broke the fast part, but it was like the principles I wanted to stand on lackluster.
Hmm.
Like I was so disappointed in myself because like the fasting part, I've mastered fasting. It's just the principles I personally wanted to stand on. It was not good. And it's like I tried doing like I did my prayers, but it's like I could have been more consistent with my prayers. And every year it's not going to be a 10. I know that. And this year it taught me stuff too. However, I will say the ending of Ramadan was better because I got my family to get together and we did a group healing exercise. We
Mm.
wrote down our burdens. We went down to the lake and we burned them.
Come on, water.
A girl, because water's cleansing. Take me to the water. What Nina Simone say? But anyway, see, girl, I'm all over the place. Let me focus. But it's one of those things where it's like, if I had to tell you, I was disappointed in my Ramadan this year. I completed it. I completed the fasting part, but the principles lackluster.
Well, you know what? You have the rest of the year to work on some of those so that for the next year's Ramadan, it'll be a piece of
Yes,
cake for you.
girl, I'm
So
with
don't
that.
trip.
How was yours?